shaman, and award-winning author. And I like to talk about the most relevant, difficult topics to discuss. That's my sweet spot. And so those are the things that we cover here on Chatcast. And if there's ever a topic that you want to discuss, you can shoot me an email, follow me on Facebook, follow me on Instagram at GoTracee. Go to TraceeDunblazier.com and drop me a note. I'd love to hear from you. Today's topic is going to be commitment, and specifically fear of commitment. Most people, when they relate to commitment, they think of relationships. They think of significant others and marriage, long term, moving in together, all of those things. But commitment actually has nothing to do with your relationships, even when you're in a relationship discussing a long term arrangement. I love that word, arrangement. Anyway, so commitment isn't about you making a commitment to others. Believe it or not, commitment is about your relationship to yourself. It is about your relationship and your own willingness to commit to yourself, to standing by your word, by saying what you do and doing what you say. Commitment is all about owning your space, standing in your own light, and doing what you want to do. The truth is, anytime we're in a relationship with anything, including other people, that's always going to be negotiable. Our compatibility is going to change, or our likes and dislikes are going to change. Our focuses are going to change. All of those things are going to be negotiable. But your relationship with yourself, well, I guess it's negotiable. But the truth is, it's about owning who you are, being willing to find out who you are, embrace who you are, accept who you are, and then owning it. And that's really the true meaning of commitment. Now, I'm going to read a little snippet here from Conquer Your Karmic Relationships. As you know, if you've watched any one of these, I always talk about this book. It is a manual of daily relationship information about how to recognize and handle the different aspects of yourself and other people. So today, in talking about commitment, I thought this was very interesting. I always, because when I write, I almost feel like I channel, so I don't actually have a lot of memory. And so every time I feel like I'm rediscovering this every time we do a Chatcast. But what I want to read to you today is it comes from part 3, Unity, and it's in the Karma of Leadership. And it says, making the decision to lead while understanding its intrinsic responsibility means becoming a conscious leader. All of us will be asked to step into this position at an appointed time and place, leading a friend, a colleague, or an acquaintance through a profound moment, guiding a family, company, or organization through a transition, or shepherding a group of strangers through the darkness. No matter the journey, the gift of true leadership is the path that leads you to conscious commitment and responsibility. And for example, I battle with this sense of commitment every Friday at 12 noon when I get ready to do this podcast. My father was in radio. He died when I was 11. And I remember he was really popular, famous for our region in the Southwest. And I remember hearing him on the radio, and I did not recognize him. The man that he presented on the radio was this person that I did not know. And it always seemed that others knew my father better than I did. And sometimes it almost felt like he loved everyone more than he did us. His commitment was, he was the third circle out. He was connecting to the public and bringing what he had to them. And while he brought as much as he could to us, he had to, somebody had to sacrifice, and it was definitely his family. Didn't mean he didn't love us, but that was just how it was. And I think that I think I resisted doing this kind of a program because on some level, I saw him as fake. I heard his voice and I felt like I couldn't connect with him. I thought it was fake, and I didn't want to do that. And so, in starting this podcast, every Friday around 11:30, I start thinking of, well, I mean, do people really watch you? I mean, does it really matter? But who really cares? I just go on and on. And then, well, I don't really feel great I make up 1,000 reasons. And then I'm like, no, this is something that I committed to do for myself. So making a commitment to anything or anyone is about ultimately your commitment to yourself. Um, and as always, I'm looking to see if I have if anybody has questions. I love questions and comments. I see a few people on, so hello. So when you're dealing with commitment, you want to look at what it is you want, what your goal is, and what exactly you are being responsible for, and what you are receiving from it. Likewise, if you are resistant to making a commitment to a person, to something, if you're resistant to it, what is that about? What is underneath your fear of committing? Okay, wonderful. Hi, Melanie. Nice to see you. She says it's been very beneficial to me. Thank you for taking that commitment. Oh, you're welcome. I took a minute to like, what is she saying? Now I get it. Thank you. Um, so when you think about making a commitment, think about what you're committing to and why you're committing to it. What is your purpose? There's an interesting thing that happened for me, and it probably hit me as I passed the age of 35. I began, I stopped being a person needing things from other people, and I started becoming a leader or a mentor or a person to whom people came. I mean, I've always been that person to whom people came for information or advice or whatever, but I found that I realized that with age comes a level of responsibility and leadership. And I don't think that it's just about age, but I think it is, uh, we have a huge expectation for adults that they should naturally take on a leadership position. Yet a lot of people don't ever do that. They don't ever fully grow up. They don't really want to take a leadership position. And they don't really want to be responsible for others. But the truth is, we are. On some level, we are responsible for where we're at, who we're around, what happens in those circumstances. We have a relationship to it. We contribute to it. And so because you're in a situation, in any situation that you engage in, you contribute to it. You are a leader in it. And you have a choice about how you want to own that or not. You know, just because you don't own that leadership position doesn't mean that people don't look to you for that or recognize what you contribute and don't feel the impact of who you are in their life. And that, my friends, is leadership. So when you think about leadership, think about your impact on other people and what you're leaving with them. That feeling, that word, that joy, that anger, all of it is what all of it is your legacy. That's the word I was looking for. All of it is your legacy. Okay, so we have a question from Stephen today. What are some practical ways to move past the fear of taking on that leadership? That's very good. I haven't even addressed fear, that is awesome. Fear makes you pay attention. That's fear's purpose. Fear says, whoop, Hello. Let's see what's happening here. Let's pay attention to exactly this thing at this time right now. And when you pay attention, you get to see a lot more. You are much more uh, acknowledging of smaller details and taking in information and focusing on it. And so your fear is to bring you the information you need, not necessarily to stop you, unless of course it's a life or death situation, but it's really to give you a broader focus for the information for you to move through it. Most people feel fear as a wall, like whoop, and you have to learn to walk right through it. Like I said, every Friday. Usually by quarter to 12, it's past, and I'm cool. But I tell you that 11:30 to 11:45 is a motherfucker. But what you do is you just walk through it. You take a deep breath. You really remind yourself this is about you and what you're doing. This is about you and who you want to be. This is about you and making a commitment to yourself. And recognizing the impact that it has on others is a part of leadership, but it starts with you. And fear always brings you back to yourself. So taking a deep breath, reminding yourself who you're doing this for, recognizing the benefit to you for doing it are all really positive ways to really preoccupy your fear as you move into taking the action of your. I think it's the same thing in relationships with others. I think sometimes when we're in relationships and we're not really liking that relationship today, we don't like how it feels, we don't like what the other person is doing. We have to take an inventory about how we're contributing and what we're bringing to the table and what we're putting up with or allowing or enabling, right? All of those things, the underlying element of it is that commitment that you've made to yourself. As there are some relationships that are just never ever going to be able to be committed because it's dangerous, because it is unhealthy, because it is not workable. But to truly be of service and to give respect to your partner, you have to be truthful to yourself about the kind of leadership you're willing to provide in a relationship. Always in any dynamic, everyone is in a leadership position. Part of leadership is walking with people, not just walking ahead of them. So, hmm, it went boop, it just stopped right there. Um, so going back to relationships. So going back to relationships, um, you are owning what you're bringing to the situation, being accountable for that, and then taking a leadership role in whatever that means in your relationship, whether it's to move it forward, whether it's to negotiate it, whether it's to enjoy it in the moment. You know, how about that? I think it's been harder and harder with a lot of people in the pandemic stuck in the house together, and they're driving each other crazy. It's hard. It's hard to be masterful when you are having to renegotiate so many different elements of your life, your daily schedule, your daily routine, how you interact with people, whether or not you have people around all the time and you don't have any personal space, whether or not you're renegotiating a job or lack of, there's been a deeper loss. Over 500,000 people have lost family members and loved ones to COVID, meaning they've died. They didn't lose them. We know where they are. They're dead, and it's awful. And I think that sometimes it's really easy for all of us to forget what others are experiencing right now and to remember who we can be in any situation for another person. So that's really what I wanted to cover about commitment, walking through the fear of commitment, There's really nothing else to do. That's the other thing I'll say is that there's nothing else to do but to walk through the fear that you feel. Nothing else to do. People have this expectation that somehow the more enlightened you are, the more masterful you are, that you actually don't feel the fear and that it doesn't matter anymore and you just go do what you're going to do. And that's not the case. It doesn't matter how masterful you are. If something is meaningful to you, that fear shows you the depth of the meaning that it has for you. And you don't overcome that feeling. You just continue to act in spite of it. So there. Now I'm really done. Thank you so much. If anybody's got a question, throw it out there right this second. Otherwise, I'm so glad that you tuned in. It's always lovely to see you. And I will look forward to seeing you again next Friday. This has been Chatcast with Tracee Dunblazier.